Okay, guys, so sorry. Hi, everyone. So today is another episode of Linkedpreneur Stories, and this time I have an amazing guest who have got a beard like Amitabh Bachchan. For ones who don't know, he's a great superstar from India. And at the same time, I have to give a heads up. We have talked with so many serial entrepreneurs that this time we wanted to turn the tables and talk about something else. And when I got introduced with the guy sitting right next to me, he said he's a serial intrapreneur, and that caught my ears, my eyes, and all the six senses. So thought, why not bring up Sandeep Nagpal right from India, the head of marketing and VP, talking about the journey of being an entrepreneur and how exactly can one rocket at it. Sandeep, welcome to the show. It's an amazing to have you from C Events and sharing your side of the story with all of us.
Thank you, Khushbu. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Absolutely. Likewise. I think it's amazing to get in touch with you and at the same time discover so many interesting stuff about you. I think a lot of it we will unveil to our audiences as well. But before that, just dropping a quick hi to everyone who's watching. Hi, guys. From where are you tuning in? For the ones who know the drill, we would love to show our guests from which part of the country you are there. Though I know many of you already, but still, put in the comment section your city, your country, and at the same time, how was your Tuesday? You can't miss to answer that. Most important question. How was your Tuesday? Tell us in the comment section. Plus, guys, a quick thing to mention. Sandeep has promised us this hour and at the same time to answer your question. Right, Sandeep? If we get audience's question, you're going to...
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Superb, guys. So Sandeep has told us that he's going to answer your questions. So if you are in an intrapreneurial journey, if you are in the event space, if you are in a journey where you want to grow up the ladders and you have got the right questions, or even if you are working in a startup and don't know how to scale from 100 to 1,000, then he is the man to ask from. And today we are going to discover some of these amazing questions. So let's start with the big question of the day. Of course, 2020 has been one of the most unique years that the entire, I think, generations would have seen so far, Sandeep. So you come, Cvent is an event technology company. I wouldn't say it's an event company. So, but however, there is an impact that happens on every single person, whether it's on individual level or on the company level because of this pandemic time. How was the situation with C events, or how was it with you personally? On both the ends, we would love to hear it.
Sure. So, Khushbu, great question. And I think all of us have been, impacted by this unprecedented, once in a lifetime kind of event. And to be honest, we were equally in for a surprise or a shock when it happened. But what happened is that it was a momentarily stop. Everything stopped for everybody. But I think it also created a little bit of an opportunity for us, right? So look at how the virtual events have kind of, which, it's a forced uh, consumption of content on a virtual side that has started happening, right? So nobody believed that virtual will expand like this. Nobody believed that people will consume content like this. So I think there was an interesting opportunity that got generated, and this can probably be linked to the entrepreneurial agility and all that stuff with which Cvent has always been known for. So I think we kind of also capitalized on this opportunity in some sense that we really on last month released our virtual attendee hub, which is a virtual solution for the customers. So now, and we also did our largest event ever, which is about 40,000 people on our virtual platform on 25th
Wow.
of August. Right. So now our customers actually have a choice. They can actually use our virtual platform. They can, when they go to physical events tomorrow, they can do that. And, the world is going to change and it is going to become hybrid. Right. So now we have solutions for both. So I think it was a very interesting situation. I think it definitely impacted us from a business perspective in the first few months. But now I think the hope is coming back, right? The things are coming back. People are starting to do stuff. So virtual definitely is one opportunity that came out of this adversity as well.
Absolutely. Congratulations, first of all, to you, to Rohit Mishra, who actually got me to you. I think that was a great guy getting introduced to as well. And to the entire CE events team, 40,000 is a huge number to say. I mean, that's really big. But at the same time, Sandeep, you mentioned about the grit. You mentioned about that CE event has always represented. But I always also felt that there is a side of resilience. There is a side where any person must have the resilience to go through a lot in life as well. And we always have this mindset that entrepreneurs and the resilience go together. But knowing your story, it changed a lot in my mind, because resilience is not something which comes from your title or so. It is for everyone, whether it's an intrapreneur or an entrepreneur, to say. And when you, as an intrapreneur, had your own journey with all sets of up and down, where you came out phenomenally well, I would love you to share some of your weakest moments so that our audiences can really understand what resilience is all about.
Yeah, sure. I think Khushbu, you're right. Entrepreneurs go through all these journeys, some good moments, some bad moments. I think let me first set the context of an entrepreneur, right? So a lot of times uh, people realize that it is about somebody who creates products and brings out some big growth dollars for the company and all that stuff. I think I more relate with entrepreneurship from a mindset perspective, right? I more relate with this term from a perspective of, are you can you dream big? Can you solutionize? Can you find the blind spots within the organization or opportunities within the organization, which, because of the legacy in the organization, it just, those ideas are not coming in the front, right? And you should be able to identify those opportunities and then have the tenacity and resourcefulness to be able to take them to the logical conclusion. And I'm not saying by logical conclusion it's success, right? Some of the ideas will actually go through the same process of failures and all that stuff, right? So, but that's again a learning journey, and you have to invest to really learn. But the idea is that you should be able to then take those ideas and take them to fruition. Okay. So, and I have, when you in fact coined this term called serial entrepreneur, I think I was just telling you my story. And I think the important part was this, that I have always, I worked with various organizations. I started my journey in '93. I was with a couple of Japanese companies who trained me into this. Early in my life, they trained me into this Kaizen concept, which is basically an incremental value that you create, or incremental benefits that you create by small innovations or small savings. And then I also worked for some European companies who trained me for decision making and individual faster decision making. right? Those were the training days, the first 6-7 years of the life, and when it was hard work. I used to travel about 150 kilometers a day to and fro on a scooty. But it was just the zest of learning and doing a lot of stuff that kept me going. And every time I took the role, any role that I took in my life, I must have taken some 8, 10, 15 roles, but most of them, I would say, most of them I took with a fact that, is there something that I can actually create in this opportunity into 3 to 4 years, right? So I give that a window. They may, and two roles will be very different from my, if you look at it on the journey, they'll be very different, right? Why? Because there are opportunities that get created in the organization and you have to latch on to them, right? And I probably did that in most of my companies. So I think, just to give you a sense, while training days, apart from training days, I started a journey in Microsoft in 2000. And that's when one of the projects that while I was doing a lot of interesting stuff, one of the projects that came to me which was sponsored by, which was blessed by Bill Gates at that time. And it was about expanding the market in the country to manufacturing clusters. Now, Microsoft was always known to be information worker product, right? It was not about the manufacturing cluster. So, and manufacturing was big. So I was, I took that role, and rest is history. That actually gave me, I worked with textile clusters, I worked with pharmaceutical clusters, I worked with automotive clusters, and tried to find the solutions for them, right? And try to create an ecosystem while Microsoft was running its own business, right? They were doing their own stuff. And that's what got me into this whole entrepreneur thing, that you can actually find solutions which a company normally is not focusing on, right? And how you create resources around it, because it's not necessarily resourced like that, right? You're not getting funding like that you don't have unlimited funding, you don't have unlimited resources. How do you really take the people who already work in the company and bring them together to a cause which you believe is going to yield longer term results? So of course that was a good success, and that's when I continued to do different roles. Unfortunately, in between, there was a time when I was hit by a personal health challenge, and that was in, I think, 2007 is when I came to know about my kidneys count.
Correct.
Right. So yeah, and I didn't know whether I live for tomorrow, right? So for about 3-4 months I was on dialysis, and then of course so I have a relationship with my wife which is not only heart but also kidney. So she was the one who actually donated a kidney to me, and that's when it gave me the second lease of life. And after that, the important part was that I was living for my dream. I wanted to do something that I really wanted to do. So opportunity came in Nokia. It was the first SaaS product that we launched, and we actually created the product while Nokia was selling its own handsets and all that stuff. We created something which was services for the masses, right? For the FMCG companies, for the for the supply chains and all that stuff. So we were actually selling those services, which was probably considered to be one of the first solutions on mobile commerce.
Yeah.
So those are and we created them on 1,000 rupee feature phones and not the smartphones of today. So I think those were the kind of things that we did, and it continued like that. Same with happened with I moved the role in. So those are kind of. Yeah.
These are some great things that you have mentioned, and I really want the audience's attention to something that you just went on saying very easily, but it isn't that easy. Why? Because nowadays, especially to the people who are in their millennial or Gen Z, to say, they want things to be fast. And you just said that the first 6-7 years were all about training and learning and 150 kilometers of drive every single day, or I should say ride every single day. And those things were so easy. But the fact is that I want to reinstate to all our audiences who are watching. Today, with 27 years of experience, Sandeep is saying the first 7-8 years of his life was about training, and that's how he's looking into it. Do we make sure that we are patient enough and we have that learning capability to make sure that we progressively every single day pick up things, and at the same time have the passion and the persistence and the patience to work hard, as 150 kilometers is not a small thing. Specifically for a country like India, it isn't at all. I know we have friends tuning in from Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, and other parts of the world where the drive speed is very different than the drive speed as compared to India. So I just want to put that point very clear. 150 is a huge long distance for Indian cities specifically. At the same time, health conditions, we sometimes become so passionate about our work, or even to say that we might miss out on something which is so obvious, that's health. And coming and failing, kidney failure is kind of a huge thing to go through, not only physically but also mentally, because it's altogether a different journey. You're very close to a very serious disease to say, and that's not an easy mental status as well. And I'm I feel blessed to get in connected with you, because you give others, equally myself, the power that it's okay, things happen, you have to move on, it's okay to take a break for a few months when this is happening with you, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You can still come back, you can still do things right. Things happen with him. And to just mention everyone out here, he actually had two big breakdowns in his life. He's humble enough to just mention one here with us, but there has been a second one as well, and both the times he came out flourishingly well, all strong, powerful, and I think more powerful than before. So guys, if you're going through something in life which isn't that pleasant at this point of time, but make sure that it will actually make you a stronger person, it will make you a better person, and this will end as well. Look at him.
Yeah, no, Khushbu, I just wanted to interject there. So I think you said two very interesting things. One, learning. I think there's an investment. Learning shouldn't stop. It's not the first 6-7 years of life. I think is continues. Every role that I did, to be honest, there is a lot of, because you're changing roles and you're changing the profiles. You need to really invest, and you really need to invest a lot. You cannot do a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 jobs. You will have to, because that's what the jobs will warrant. The more important part that I would say is the faith and the patience, right? So you need to have faith in yourself and your ability. And I think the patience you rightly said perseverance. I think more than perseverance, I would probably say tenacity to see it through, right? So I think to a large extent, and that goes back again to entrepreneurship, where you say, you dream big, right? You be curious, but at the same time have the tenacity to see through the idea to the logical conclusion, which more likely should be a success. But if it is a failure at any stage, it's okay. You're learning through that, and you should be back in that game once again. You shouldn't lose faith. So I think faith is important. I'm not a big fan of hope. I'm a big fan of faith.
I think that is very important. There's a huge difference between hope and faith. And to understand that, we'll not get into the details, guys. Go and check Google. But the fact is, having faith is one thing you want to make sure you have within, and things will change for you. That's for sure. But at the same time, Sandeep, as we are talking about entrepreneurship, and you shared about your own growth journey of what you had been through, whether it comes from the tenacity side of growing from an engineer to a VP right now, head of marketing to one of the largest event technology company in India, I would love for you to advise to young entrepreneurs who want to be you, or want to be coming to a position where they can also lead leadership roles. What would be your key tips or takeaways for them from your own life, so that they can implement it right immediately in their life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a few things that you should keep in mind. One, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, so to say, or the mindset is important, of course. And I keep saying, and I read it somewhere also, that entrepreneurship is one thing that can be learned. It's not necessarily taught. I mean, it's not necessarily born, right? It can be taught, it can be learned. So it's because it is a mindset. It's a skill set. You need to really get into that mode and learn and practice, right? And by practice, there are a few things that you must do. One, you should always try and look at the bigger picture. Don't go into the trenches and start doing something. I mean, you should do what you're doing, but you should, if you really want to think big, then and get bigger results, then start thinking big. Start thinking, what can I find which others haven't found? That's what entrepreneurs do, right?
Yes, Sandeep, add on.
Yeah.
I remember a very amazing thing that I read about, and also while talking to you, I came to know you need to have an eye to see things which maybe others are not seeing it, and that's when you can make it happen. And that's something I find very fascinating when you mentioned that, because that's what exactly it is. If you want to grow your ladder, I think as you could see the value in when you were working with Microsoft, the cluster job that you were doing, and you could see so much of value and bringing it from nowhere to somewhere at this point in time, and that's phenomenal. I think great
Yeah,
point.
every company, let me put it this way: every company, if you are into a company, any corporate, has blind spots.
Correct,
Okay, because,
absolutely.
and
Yes,
every company would also have a lot of inertia, a lot of baggage, right? So
yes,
you will come across those situations, that, oh, this can't happen. This is not the norm. This won't work out, right? Or nobody has seen it, so it is not a big opportunity. I think those are the opportunities where you really need to focus. And if you identify that, can you then also smell an opportunity? First identifying those blind spot and then smelling that opportunity, can it become big? Can it make a big difference? Right? So if that is what you can do, then you need to really be resourceful, right? More often than not, you will find in a company there will be a lot of naysayers. There'll not be a
yes.
lot of people who will come back and push you back and say, hey, you not happen, I'll not be able to put resources. So one, you need to be resourceful to be able to rally the right kind of people. I even recommend, if you are 100% sure and you have a huge belief in what you're thinking, start in a stealth form. You don't have to go and tom about it, right? Just get your sponsors, the right people, the right kind of the resourcefulness, get the resources and get to a level which in a normal world will be called an MVP, which is a minimum viable product. So get your idea to a level where it will be very difficult to be shut down, right? Because once you've brought it to a level that that it has the potential to grow, so there will be people who will come back and support you and back you up, right? So take it to that level and then make it happen, and then be a seller, be an active promoter, go talk about it, tell about the potential, because then you start becoming a CEO of your idea and you start propagating that. So I think that's what is very critical to work in a corporate environment.
I love that. The mindset of the CEO. I think that's what you need to think today when while running our organization as well, Sandeep. We love our people to think like us and think exactly like they are in the P&L role, or they are in the position where the profits and the loss are at stake as much as for the founders is for them as well. And that's the CEO mindset, which I think can help any employee in any single company or any team member who's looking for growth. Absolutely well. I loved it. I loved it so much. This was one of the best things. But Sandeep, since you mentioned about this, and I can't let you go without asking this question, because having friends in the segment, I have heard a lot about a terminology which I would just use it for the lack of a better word is corporate politics, and it is there. Let's accept it. It's there, but maybe not everywhere, but not in all organizations, but maybe a few. But since you have an experience with so many organizations, and that means you have sat with different kind of people, you've worked with different types of leadership team, and as well as you have had your own teams of different backgrounds.
Yeah.
How exactly do you think someone can manage that in the leadership role at the same time for personal level as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very good question. I think very difficult to answer, because the contexts are different. But I can take a shot at it. I'll probably say I'll not deny that politics doesn't happen, and I don't think that that will be truth by any be out of imagination. Politics happens, and why does it happen? Because everybody, it's a cutthroat world. Everybody wants to be in the front, and all this stuff that happens, right? Your idea, my idea, who gets the better this thing, all of that stuff happens, right? See, but does this not happen with business people? Does it not happen with CEOs or entrepreneurs? Correct. Are they not competing for their idea in the marketplace, right? They might be they might be actually not even knowing the competition. Here you at least know the competition, right?
Absolutely.
So in a corporate world. So I think I would probably put it, it's easier when you know your competition than when you don't know your competition, right? So I think play to your strengths. I would not say, I would never recommend go and do a politics again or try. I mean, you know what I mean. What I would say is that, play to your strengths, okay? And I think don't let people uncover your weaknesses. I think those are the two things. So you guard your weaknesses and you play to your strength. Rest, I think everybody has his own turf to play.
I think that will be one of the biggest takeaways from this call is actually guard your weaknesses and play with your strength, guys. Guard your weaknesses and play with your strength, guys. I'm repeating myself so that it's right in your brain and you make sure that you don't let people find out what you're weak at, but you can put across your strength right in front as well. That was a great point, Sandeep. And with this, of course, you know that we have a lot of intrapreneurs as well watching us, or budding entrepreneurs to say watching us. What do you think one possible mistake that people who are too excited to climb the corporate ladder or get into the dream position they are looking for, they tend to make? What do you think some of the common mistakes they can do, or one common mistake they can make?
I think two, I would say, not even one. I would say two, actually. One is that betting on the wrong idea, and then having that possession with the idea that, this is the best idea and I need to make it successful, right? So the possessiveness with an idea, I think that's particularly for entrepreneurs is difficult. I mean, it's a problem. You need to realize, at some point of time that this is not going anywhere. So you take it to a logical conclusion and close it and look for another opportunity, right? I think the other people who actually take it forward is the tenacity or perseverance to really take it to the last leg, right? So losing hope or losing faith in themselves. I think if you are backing up, so I think they're diametrically opposite things that I'm talking, but
correct,
the contexts are different. So if you're backing it up and you believe it, don't let it go because you don't have resources, because resources can be created, right? And you will have to create to be able to be successful, right? So if you are 100% sure about the idea, make the resources happen. Only then can you really, reap the results. And if you are writing the wrong idea, realize it and fail fast rather than taking it too long.
I think that those were phenomenal tips, because sometimes people get so connected and personally attached to their idea that letting go or knowing when is the right time to not associate yourself any further with that on a personal level is very important, because sometimes they can get very possessive about it. I think that makes complete sense, Sandeep. So with this, Sandeep, a very quick roundup for our rapid fire round. Are you all ready for the rapid fire? So all excited, all pumped up to do our first and the very first rapid fire. So let's do it from your den, which is, we're going to discover a lot more about Sandeep and see who is Sandeep more than just knowing about the Cvent and his work. We would like to know personally as well. So let's get started. So Sandeep, tell us one mentor in your life who has impacted the most in your growth journey.
By far, my father. By far. Yeah, I mean, he started very early. He was in class 7 or 8 when he started his journey of earning. He came from partition of India and all that stuff, and then I've seen the way he has led his life. I think a lot has come to me from him. A lot about faith, a lot about believing in yourself, making it happen. He made it big from a refugee family in India and all this stuff. So I think that was at every given point of time, he was my guiding light. Right in college, he used to write me letters, handwritten letters. I still treasure them. So
Wow.
very, 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 a large part of me is shaped by him.
That's such a beautiful thing to know. We didn't know about the refugee side of it as well. But yes, thank you so much for sharing with all of us, Sandeep. So the next thing is, where do you spend maximum of your time on the internet? As in, which websites do you surf the most?
Well, internet. I would probably. I mean, I do a lot of stuff. But I would probably say I binge a lot on the on Netflix and all that stuff. So I'm more on that side. Otherwise, there are a lot of business blogs and all the stuff that I read. But interesting side is the binging on the Netflix or Amazons and all this stuff.
So what are you watching right now?
Oh, you told me 3 days back. What was it? White Collar. That's the one. Yeah, I've already watched 3 seasons, and you told me about 3 days back, right? I'm all done with 3 seasons.
Oh my God! Are you after already?
Yeah, I told you I'm a big binging guy on this.
Oh my God! Okay, tell us next holiday destination that you will travel to after this pandemic is over.
Oh boy, haven't thought about it. I think most of our listeners would be in the same mode. Yeah, maybe somewhere in Uttarakhand, in a remote village. I'm not a very I'm not a very city guy, so probably find a place in the Himalayas somewhere. Yeah.
So nice, so nice. I think it's a beautiful town to be in. I think a beautiful, peaceful place. One thing that you're super proud of in your life.
Relationships.
Oh,
I built some really valuable relationships, which I treasure a lot. So I think, yeah, I would say relationships.
and one mistake in life that you think that's or a challenge or learning that you have from your life at the moment.
No, it's a mistake. I didn't take care of my health, to be honest. And this is something that I would recommend I'm very worried for today's generation because a lot of us do not spend that much of time. I mean, there are people who really spend a lot of time. There are people who don't spend a lot of time, right? So
Correct.
I would say, absolutely one thing that you need to be taking care of is health. Uh, Everything else can wait. Everything else, right? Your dreams, your passion, your everything will fall in line if you have health on your side. So yeah, that was a mistake. I didn't think about it early. Big mistake.
Definitely, I agree to that. And one animal you resonate with, Sandeep.
Right now, like an elephant. Yeah.
The elephant memory, right? It rocks.
Physically, I look like one. But yeah, I would prefer to be. Yeah, I mean, it's a cute one. Yeah? It's a huge, but has sharp memory, long memory,
Yes.
vegetarian. So that's what it is.
Oh, that's a good one. I think you're the first guest who's resonating with that particular animal. Makes me, I'll definitely remember this for the longest period of time. Also, you want to give to our to the current generations and the youth at this point of time. Of course,
Sorry, I didn't get
health. One advice you would like to give to the youth at this point of time. Of course, the health is for sure there, and since you've mentioned that, what would be the other one?
dream big. Dream big. If you really want to make it dream, set a bigger target. Set a large, set an eye on. Don't set an eye on the smaller. I mean, you can make milestones which are smaller, but think bigger, right? Because that's what you will keep you going. Because if you keep a milestone, you achieve it, and then you're done, right? So the sense of accomplishment will not be there. So keep in mind, success is not a milestone. Success is a journey, right? So once you reach somewhere, you have another milestone to cover, right? So keep a much larger distance so that you have more milestones to cover.
Indeed, I think that's a good one, Sandeep, to share with every youth. Guys, dream big. But of course, as Sandeep mentioned, you can always have smaller milestones to achieve your big dream as well. With this, Sandeep, it's a roundup to our first rapid fire. Thank you so much. It was actually nice. I would say it was a rapid fire, but discovering about you was more fun than the speed factor. So I can let that go for sure. But
Loved
with
it.
this, thank you so much, Sandeep. But with this, Sandeep, of course, knowing about you, since we've worked with Nokia, Microsoft, now you're with Cvent, you've worked with SAP, all these companies, there has been a lot of scalability that has been involved in your journey, where I would say taking companies from 100 to 1,000 has been one of your key experience over the past 27 years. And that's something, it's a great challenge, specifically for startups. When they have reached to a point, they don't know how to go from this number and multiply it 10x, which is going from 100 to 1,000. And expansion always is a huge challenge. What do you have to say on that?
Okay, so I think so there are two things. One, you at every journey of a startup, you need to really look at it from this perspective. There will be certain set of people who can take it from 0 to 10, right? Because they have to do everything, because you don't have resources, you don't have kind of technology or people or resources or money. So everybody pitches in and brings in the best and does everything and brings it from 0 to 10, right? But when you have to take it from 10 to 100, you need to let go and bring in specialists, right? So you bring in specialists who really need to then take that thing from their own lens, resource them, enable them, and support them so that they can take it forward. Now, in this bargain, the founders also need to let go of some things, right? Because they are used to doing certain things in certain way that they have always been doing, right? So I think that's the interjection point, that you need to bring in people who know their job as a specialist, because specialists will take it to the next level. But at the same time, you need to really let go of certain things while enabling and resourcing them.
Yeah. No, definitely that makes complete sense. And to the founder, it can be a huge challenge as well to let go the certain responsibility, because they have a certain way of doing it, and then when the new team comes up, there is a lot of new processes involved. Great point, Sandeep. It makes complete sense. With this, I also would love to hear something which is absolutely different, but at the same time, it makes complete sense. Is how is your routine like? Like, what's the two things in your daily routine you definitely don't miss? Binge watching is definitely one thing which I will not consider in these two for sure. So I consider that by default. I'm saying, Sandeep, that's happening for sure. But what are the other two things that goes every single day? You make sure that you do it in your routine.
Okay, so let's put it this way. I'm a big tea aficionado, so to say. So I'm more into tea. So I definitely have different kinds of teas that I have at home. So I'm not a cook, but I'm a very passionate about my teas. So I definitely make my own tea at least 2 or 3 times in a day, which is not a normal tea or a chai. It's an involved process. So
Wow.
that's one thing that I do. And the other one probably would be, I definitely read a book. Definitely read a book. So
Awesome.
I can't go to sleep, or I can't go to sleep without reading a book.
So, one book that you would like to give to your best friend?
Go Giver.
Go
Awesome book.
Giver.
Go Giver.
Okay.
Giver. Yeah, awesome book. It is, you have to indulge into it to really understand what it is. It's about giving. You don't have to really, and it's not about normal, any social responsibility. It's just how you are as a person, and how that giving brings back so much back to you. So it's a beautiful book. I highly recommend anybody in the audience, if you want to read, Go Giver is the book to read.
Awesome. I think that's a good one. Let's take that definitely. And with this, Sandeep, are we ready with some audience's question? Because we've got some great questions, guys. So we are in the audience question segment. If you have a question, drop it now. Now is the time, guys. So let's look at it, Sandeep. We have
Sure.
Vipin Kumar who has joined us, and he has the first question. Hey, Vipin, your question time. He says, I have a startup but having problem with things which is not in my hand. What to do with that? How to manage it?
Um, Good question, Vipin, although a little ambiguous. But I would say, consult, right? Consult with a specific problem with people who have done it, right? So I think that you will not, you don't realize the power of mentorship and support, how many people can come up and help you and support you. So reach out, don't feel shy about it. So reach out to the people who have done it, who might have gone through the similar situation in lives. I'm very sure that you will overcome whatever you are going through.
Absolutely. I think, Sandeep, that's a great point because we don't know how many people are there to help. Because the whole perspective here is that asking, the most difficult part is asking about it. But
Yeah.
just to add my 2 cents, Sandeep, I feel that Vipin has discovered the problem himself. I think he knows where he's not good at. And that's the first step of even figuring out a solution to a problem. So he has discovered the problem exists, and you have shared a great solution to. Vipin, I hope you got your answer. Tell me in the comment section. And now let's look at Abhishek's question. So Abhishek Bhardwaj is tuning in and he says, "Hi sir and Kuku sir, I really want to start a business and book writing both, but the business I'm looking for it's already people are doing successfully. So how can I make my venture unique so that I can sell my services as well as different to others? And thanks for sure, I'm doing the remedies which you suggested me improving writing." Like, okay, that's a different thing. But the question for you is, so he's saying, I'm already doing the remedies which you suggested me improving writings, like how to give sequence to the events. Awesome, Abhishek. Thank you so much for giving that shout out. But Abhishek's question is, of course, he wants to start something, and that something is already there in the market, and people are doing pretty much very well. So he is not able to discover that uniqueness for himself to stand out and get the clients or yeah.
Yeah. Again, because I don't know exactly what you want to do, I would probably keep it more general. So two things come to my mind. One, have you considered doing business in writing? Because you already think about writing, right? So maybe that's a better calling for you than what you're thinking of doing, right? That's one. Second, if you really want to pursue what you already have on hand, which others are already doing, maybe because you are a writer, you can potentially find a way to articulate the proposition better than the others do, right? So I don't know which one will work for you, but I think either of them, if it is of any help, happy to lend this advice. But you can, if there is any specific, you can always reach out, and if I can help, I'll be happy to help.
Oh wow, that's very nice, Abhishek. Just imagine if Sandeep himself is mentioning that he is open to reaching out. But yes, Sandeep, I think both the advices are applicable in his case because, as much as I understand, he has been on Linkpreneur Stories previously as well, and he had some questions similar to the same line. So I think your both the suggestions will make a huge difference. With this, let's get to the next question. We actually have a few questions from one guy, TK Bharat. Hey TK Bharat, he's live and he's watching us right now. So he has asked a few questions. Let's take a one by one. So he's saying how to train mindset to stay creative amidst the competitive challenges.
So, creative is a process of self-excellence. So, I think you challenge yourself more in creative process than you get challenged by anybody else. So, I think as far as creative process is concerned, I can tell you every day what you create is something that you have overcome a competition already, which was yourself, right? So, I think from a creativity perspective, there is no competition, right? So I think shed that mind in that sense that you have a competition, because the only competition that you have in creative process is you.
I think makes sense. 100% makes sense on that, because it's all in the mindset. And let's look at the next question. How do you get the post-pandemic situation for? How do you see, sorry, the post-pandemic situation for entrepreneurial strategies?
Uh, I think there'll be a lot of innovation. I think there'll be a lot of opportunities that will get uncovered, right? And I think the right kind of entrepreneurs who really want to seize the opportunity have already seized it or are already in the process of seizing it. So don't
Yeah,
see this situation to be, yeah, it is bad. It is rude shock for all of us. It has impacted our lives, but it has also opened up avenues. I mean, I can give you an example. How many times did we use hand sanitizers in a day? Hardly, right? So now you have entrepreneurs with manufacturing plants for hand sanitizers like all over the place. It's not an innovative idea, but seizing the opportunity, right? So
correct.
I think there are a lot of opportunities that will come up. Virtual for example, is another opportunity. Digital area is another opportunity. A lot of freelancers are getting a different kind of jobs that they never got earlier because they were not ready to go to the jobs and other stuff. So I think there are opportunities that will always come, right? You just have to, as I said in the beginning, there are blind spots, there are opportunities. You need to just smell the opportunity.
Absolutely, I can agree to that. And with this, there's a third question that's coming from him, and I would love you to take, because it's a wonderful question. How to build resilience among the team to be more successful with virtual mode of working? I think that's a very in time question, which is building
Yeah.
resiliency among the teams to be more successful in this virtual world specifically.
Yeah, I think that you stumped me on that, because that's all of us are actually grappling with. So there is no silver bullet, my friend. The only thing that I would say is uh, there is, the team. When you're talking about team, I think the bonding in the team and the interdependence in the team is key. And you need to really get teams together more often, and than what you think the job brings them together. I think the engagement is super critical in non-work related areas, because in the office they actually could tap on each other's shoulders and talk to each other and share with each other, which they can't today. So I think more than resilience, what you need is emotional support, and I think that will automatically say resilience comes from within, right? Emotional support is required. So I think that's what the teams can provide to each other. And once you start feeling that you are in a safe zone, I think resilience will automatically come out of people.
I think that makes 100% sense. TK, I hope you got your answers, or I should say, Bharat, I hope you got your answers and to all your questions with this, Sandeep, of course. And since we're talking so much about your intrapreneurial journey and all the incidences and stories that has been with you, I would love to hear what's your take on with the VUCA route and this mindset of entrepreneur. What's your take on personal branding or employee branding, where large organizations must be probably get the leadership team out as well beyond the founders to be able to go out and have a brand which carries, of course, the company alongside. But what's your take on personal branding at this point of time?
Both are equally important. I think if definitely companies benefit from people if they are really smart people and they still talk about they represent the tone and the tonality and the kind of ethos the company has. For example, I'm telling you, Cvent is a hugely entrepreneurial company, really top 1%, very agile. And I would, I would represent the same in any of the conversations that I would do. I think similarly, personal branding is important, more so now that it is in the current world when you have lot of freelancers working, a lot of those kind of people working who want jobs and businesses. I think the important element is that we sometimes misinterpret branding with promotion,
Correct.
right? So I think you shouldn't think about promoting yourself as much, because that is very self-serving purpose. What you should be focusing about is the what do you call it? What is a value proposition that you are bringing? What is a distinguishing factor? What is a differentiation of your services and your knowledge that you can impart? Because people relate to that, right? And that will build, because people, when they want to hire you, or they want to hire your services, they wouldn't see whether I come from SAP or Microsoft or Cvent or wherever. They would see whether I have, when it comes to real business, when it comes to real making a career, I think they would spend time with me understanding whether I know my stuff or not, right? So
Correct.
what is my distinguishing factor? How would I distinguish my offerings? Is something that it's a basic brand promise, right? So you need to create a brand promise. What do you bring yourself as a brand? And then once you have identified the brand promise, then it comes about promotion. And there are social media, this, that, whatever, you can promote yourself in whatever way you want. But first, identify your brand promise.
Absolutely, because Sandeep, you come from a marketing space as well, where storytelling and everything has been your. I mean, it's been your breakfast to say for every single day, but and it's a great way of looking at it. Usually, when we have companies, we put the value propositions, mission, the brand statement or the brand mission. We don't talk about that from an individual point of view. We always talk from the company perspective. But I'm glad that you opened eyes in a direction where the individual itself has a value proposition. They itself have a key, unique selling point to say, or something unique about themselves where they're great at. And I do remember you mentioned
I
something
will
very.
hold you there. I'm a big fan of unique buying proposition, not a unique selling proposition. Why? Because people buy. It's very difficult for you to sell, right? So the
Because
mindset of people, if they want to buy, if they're not ready to buy whatever selling you do, you won't be able to sell. So I think there lies the difference. You need to have a proposition which people want to buy.
absolutely. And that's where the consumer mindset comes in. When we are talking about the selling thing, it is more from the point of view of being a person who is on the seller's point of view. But as a marketing person, or even as a business owner, you must always think from the point of view of your customers. And I love that. The buying preposition and not the selling preposition. Love it. Guys, this is a big takeaway. Don't miss out on this today. But with this, Sandeep, let me reflect back on a question that came in from Anil Meghani in our live itself. He said that, do you think intrapreneurs can make great entrepreneurs?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
Do you think intrapreneurs can make great entrepreneurs?
There's no binding on that, I would say. I mean, a lot of people who start internal, I've seen, have gone out and made big. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the mindset is similar. Now it's a choice that you make, right? So a lot of times the constraints that you're working in, the kind of risk taking capacity that you have for your own money, those kind of things will play a part. But yeah, I mean, there's no holding back for entrepreneurs to become entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, 100% on that with you, because I think it's about the individual preferences to go about. Everybody can be an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur. It's the mindset, as you said. And once they have had that mindset, the faith, I think they'll rock in each and every journey. Thank you, Sandeep, there sharing your point of view on that question. With this, are you ready for the second round of the rapid fire?
Always ready.
Okay, superb. I like that spirit. Let's take it ahead with the rapid fire, which is about the head and the tail round, where I'm going to give you two words and you're going to choose one that suits you the most.
Okay.
Okay. Speed or scale?
Scale.
Black or white?
White.
Book or audio podcast?
Book.
Mindset or skill set?
Mindset.
Okay, passion or purpose?
Passion for purpose.
Okay, Microsoft or Nokia?
Oh, this is well. I wrote a note long back. Sorry, I'm not responding in that sense, but I wrote a note when it happened. So one is the most loved company I work for. One is the most admired company I work for. And now you can interpret
So
whatever
which
way you
one
want.
which one is the last?
I don't want to spell it. I leave it there.
Okay, so you're really a storyteller. You're letting people go cliffhanging on this episode. Definitely. No, with this, Sandeep, how about if I ask you about success or failure?
Eventually success, but failures shouldn't drop you from making big.
You have to pick one. If you have to pick one,
Success any day.
Fame or fortune?
I wouldn't mind fortune.
Okay, lovely. And health or wealth?
Oh, health any day. Fortune I've already got. No?
No, that's true. That's true. How about Netflix or Amazon Prime?
Netflix.
Okay, guys. So if Netflix guys will watch this, they'll be very happy. Husband or a father?
Between husband and father, it's father. I can't have
Oh,
it.
okay.
If you would have asked me wife or father, I would have said wife's father.
Okay, that got me thinking for a second. Guys, if your wife is listening, she would be super happy to hear that. So
I keep my weaknesses on my side, right? So yeah.
Slow or fast?
Fast.
Day or night?
Day.
Outdoor or indoor?
With pandemic, indoor is enough. Now outdoor.
Okay. This is the last one, but the most important one. Given you a choice to pick between the two, your tea collection or your Netflix binge watching, what will that be?
Tea collection any day.
Oh,
I
really? Oh,
will switch to Amazon. I'm okay. So now Netflix will not be very happy. but definitely tea collection any day.
with this, I learned my question should be binge watching or tea collection, irrespective of the platform, because that was
yes.
smart rescue.
That would have been difficult. Then I would have been binge watching with my tea.
Yes, that was a possible move. But Sandeep, thank you so much for the wonderful wrap to the rapid fire. It was a great round. Instead, I loved it. With this, I have some final questions for you. First one, of course, Sandeep, is one question that comes from one of our audiences from the past episodes, and we love that question so much that we have actually brought in that question in the series as one of the most asked question as well. What is that one thing that you would like to be remembered for?
That's a great question. Never thought of it actually. Seriously. In fact, yeah, that got me thinking. Well, I think I would probably. There's nothing, nothing material that I would want people to know about me and anything of that sort. But I think what I really think that if people really want to see me in whatever context, I think they should be able to see me in a perspective that there is hope if you keep faith, right? So, so I think I have kept hope. Somebody gave me a hope. Somebody, I kept my faith, and I've overcome situations in life, not necessarily professional, but personal as well. So I think I would look at if I can give any ray of hope to people who are struggling in any way. my only recommendation would be that look at me as a fellow who went through this and probably came out okay, I would say. So I think look at me from a hope perspective, that there is hope.
I think personally, Sandeep, I can relate to that as well, because I'm sure there is so many people who would love to have you just as a mentor as well, to be able to help them come out of that position or that point of time in life where they're feeling quite weak and hopeless about themselves. And with those words that you have shared with us today, and I'm sure beyond that, with all the life experience and the resiliency that you have, the grit that you have, there are so many that you can motivate, especially the youth, I would say.
I think I would just end it with one more thing. See, all of us fear. All of us have our own fears in life, right? Some insecurities, some fears, some hopelessness. One thing that I read somewhere, I think I wrote also somewhere, was that you cannot be necessarily fearless every time, but you can fear less, right? So you can reduce your fear, right? In that context, if you really look at it from that perspective, I think you can always overcome slowly the fears or insecurities or hopelessness just by keeping faith, right? I'm guaranteeing you, you will not have a situation where you will say, I'm like completely fearless, it's gone away from me, I'm like the soul warrior. That won't happen, because life will keep throwing challenges at you. But what is important is that keep faith and keep reducing that fear, become a little more less fearful. That's a victory in itself.
Absolutely. And Sandeep, I think the position where you be fearless, you can actually sometimes be overconfident as well. I mean, and that overconfidence can also kill you in a lot of situations where you miss on looking at what you must be careful of, being very defensive and being careful of the situation. So that's a great point. It's not about being fearless, but it's about fearing less, with a space in between. That was a great takeaway. But with this, Sandeep, because we are live on LinkedIn, and I would love to ask your point of view. What do you think of LinkedIn as a platform has been for B2B space, where you are into so many B2B companies, and also I have seen you pretty much active on the platform as well. So what do you think of the platform for people like yourself and for founders or for budding?
Oh, absolutely. It's a wonderful platform. I think from every angle, whether it is professional networking, from whether it is from creating taking a professional point of view, discussions, hiring, putting across your solutions. I think now with a lot of new tools, whether it is old ones also, as navigators and all this stuff. I think there's so much more that LinkedIn provides. I personally think it's one of the best tools in a B2B space that you should definitely leverage, both from a platform and tools perspective.
No, that's lovely to hear it from you, Sandeep. And with this, we are in the final segment, and we have got a small surprise for you, from a friend. So the surprise comes from Anil Meghani. Hi, Anil. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Anil, you stumped me on this. You're on mute.
Hi, Sandeep. Hi, Khush. Nice to see you all again.
Absolutely.
Hey,
So, Sandeep, giving you a quick why he's there is because Anil is known as a 60 seconds guy on Linkedpreneur Stories. And there is a story behind why he's called the 60 seconds guy. Anil, do you want to unveil the story to Sandeep?
I'm sure I will do that for Sandeep, and most of our tribes know about this. But yes, I've been in sales for more than 2 decades plus now. And in sales, we all know that there's something called an elevator pitch. That elevator pitch kind of lasts between 60 seconds. And that's the time when you want to actually impress upon, have the introduction, and also probably get into your next CTA, which is the next call to action with your prospect, which is there. And that's what sales guys are known for. That's why we call it a crisp 60-second elevator pitch. And since I'm a sales guy and I'm on Linkpreneur Stories, I kind of resonate with that. And I take most of the guest 60 minutes or 90 minutes session and crisp them into that 60 seconds, which I will probably give out as a summary. Are you excited, Sandeep?
Super excited, as long as you're doing the job.
Thank you so much. So here is my 60 seconds, and my timer goes up here. You started saying that opportunities will be created in your organization. Just smell it and latch on it. I love that word, smelling and latching. Keep asking yourself, is there something that I can create within my own organization? And that's what the entrepreneurial spirit could be. You talked about a very important point, and which Khushbu kind of reinstate that play on your strengths and guard your weaknesses. It's very, very important. You talked about something very nice called dream big, be curious, and have tenacity. I'll repeat, dream big, be curious, and have tenacity. You talked about a concept of Kaizen. I'm a very avid follower of Kaizen, which talks about continuous improvements. Then you also talked about become CEO of your own idea. And that's where the entrepreneurship comes into. Then always have an eye to things which others are not seeing. That was there. And the last one, which you said about the book, which is a really nice book, which I went through it right now. It's called Go Giver, a little story about powerful business ideas by Bob Berg. So that's my 60 seconds. And if I have to sum this up into everything, a very quick quote from Waldo Emerson says that what lies behind us and what lies before us are very tiny matters as compared to what lies within us. And when we bring out what is within us to the whole world, miracles happen and entrepreneurs are born. Okay, entrepreneurs are born is something addition from my side, but yeah, that's what all entrepreneurship is about. It was a fantastic session, Sandeep. I really loved it because I resonate that very, very strongly. I've been an entrepreneur myself in the last 2 or 3 gigs of my companies, and I really love that thing. So thank you so much for being on the show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much, Anil, and well summarized, actually.
Thank you so much. I think there was so much of intake which we had. There were so many things which you talked about. You talked about 2 mistakes of an entrepreneur. I'm going to put this up back in the post tomorrow on LinkedIn, which is there for the audiences. So I think Khushbu has dropped off, or maybe I think some network connection, maybe. But any last few words for the audiences from you on Sandeep?
Before I let you go, I think I just want to thank Rohit. He was the guy who actually connected us, and I think thank you, Rohit, if you're listening. I actually see a friend of mine here.
Okay.
Hi to Vishwanath Chilkapati. Hey, Vishi. He's in Hyderabad.
That's
Great
nice.
friend. So he's an entrepreneur himself. So I hope I answered your question. You are a great support. So yeah, I mean, no, love it. Yeah, love the conversation, and thanks, Khushbu, to invite me, and Anil, of course. It's great knowing you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandeep.
At the same time, guys, I'm so sorry I had to vanish because of some sudden problem. We had a lights out in Malaysia, and this is for the first time I'm experiencing it. I don't know the reason for it, but yes, thank you so much, Sandeep.
But
And
Sandeep was thinking, wish this would have happened before. He would have become the host for the show.
I was about to practice that. What am I going to do? Khushbu's gone, but thankfully Anil was here.
but yes, Sandeep, thank you so much. A quick shout out, of course, to Rohit. Absolutely, for thank you for introducing me to such an amazing soul. I'm so glad that now I know you back in the city, and this will be a phenomenal experience whenever I'm there to meet you in person as well.
Pleasure will be mine. Good to host you.
With this, thank you everyone who's watching us. And we had a quick dropout, but yes, we had 2 amazing guys take care of it. So till then, we'll meet you next week again at the same time, Tuesday evening. Guys, take care. Bye-bye.